So I'm going to tell you something, though, right up front. I'm going to tell you my approach after 50 years of the Scriptures. And while I am not any kind of ist, like I am not a dispensationalist, but I do approach the Bible from the understanding of dispensational truth. I follow Paul's admonition that says study or be diligent with the Scriptures to rightly divide them. Or as the Concordant would say, to correctly cut the word of truth. Or I actually prefer the 1930 edition of the Concordant, and which tells us to correctly partition the word of truth. When you're studying the Scriptures, you can begin to put things in categories where they belong. And so while I'm not a dispensationalist, I'm unashamedly dispensational. And to that end, Paul says, Philippians 1:20, you don't have to go there, but he says that he challenged the Philippians to distinguish between things that are different. So you know what we do? We read the Scriptures looking for God to make a difference. And God makes a difference, then we say, oh, I'm going to be like God, and I'm going to make a difference there. And I'm going to write that difference down. And you just stay at it like that. And I'll tell you what, while I'm not a universalist, I am unashamedly universal in my understanding and outlook of the work of God. Because the Scriptures, Paul says in Colossians 1:20, listen, through Him, Jesus Christ, to reconcile all to Him, whether those things on earth or those in the heavens. You know what God's going to do through the Lord Jesus Christ? He's going to reconcile everything. Everything on the earth. Boy, that's a lot of reconciliation. The world's all about division and strife and animosity.
Corruption.
It's all about that. Always has been. Doesn't matter if you're talking politics or government or religion or science or economics. Doesn't matter the field you're talking about. And God's going to reconcile the whole planet. But what folks don't know is that the heavens are just as in bad shape as the earth. In fact, the Scriptures tells us that there's wickedness and evil in the heavens. And they need to be reconciled too. By the way, if you don't know, if you've been granted faith today, that's your future role right there. Okay, Israel's got the role of regaining righteous authority on the planet and God's instrument through Christ to reconcile the earth. But there's a look up at night and gaze into the heavens. There's rebellion and wickedness there. And that's these principalities and powers and mights and all these things that exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. Oh, the future's grand and glorious. And while I'm not a Unitarian, I'm also unashamable in my embrace of this truth. 1 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 6 says, there is one God, the Father. One God, the Father, of whom is all, and we for Him, and one Lord Jesus Christ. So while I'm not Unitarian, I am unashamedly embrace these great truths that are revealed in the Scriptures.